Hey guys, next we're going to talk about modes. So in the modes tab, we'll be able to configure things like which switch will arm the drone or put it in stabilized mode or trigger the failsafe and those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and power on our drone again with the battery so that we can get connected to our receiver. And then we'll go in here and let's go ahead and do arm first. So I'm going to go ahead and set the arm switch now. And what I'll do to set the arm switch, I'm not sure which auxiliary number refers to which switch. So I'm just going to go ahead and set it to auto and flip the switch that I want to use. And if you'll notice, when I set it to auto and flipped the switch on my left index finger, it automatically selected aux1. So aux1, now I can see if I flip that switch some more, I can watch this yellow thing dance back and forth. That tells me where it is on this spectrum. So over here in this gray zone means that the drone will not be armed. And once it's over here in this orange section, it will be armed. You can kind of decrease the resolution a bit to make sure that nothing accidentally happens. But if you'll notice with this switch, it's pretty much on or off. So as long as it's in this orange, cursor is in the orange here, and in the gray here, you should be good. Even if you were this close, it should be just fine. I like to make it look nice though and put it over there. Next, we're going to set up angle mode. Angle mode is the flight mode that usually is often called stabilized. It's essentially going to balance itself out and prevent the drone from crashing. If you lose video, for example, it'll balance itself out and you can throttle up. Sometimes it's used to prevent a crash in that instance. It'll also be used likely by many of you as you're learning to fly. It's a little bit easier to learn than acro. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add range again, keep it on auto, and flip the switch that I want it to be. In this instance, I used my smaller 3-stage switch on my left hand, and now I can see that it's working correctly. And let's say I want this, since we enabled previously in our previous settings, that it's always on acro mode unless it's in this orange zone. Then I can say when the switch is down or forward, then it's going to be in acro mode, and when I flip it up to either of these settings, it's going to be in stabilize. So this is the middle stage and this is the stage closest to me, the user. So we've got that going now. Let's go ahead and set up a beeper. Let's say we crashed our drone and we didn't disconnect from the RX, so it didn't automatically set up a beep, and we want it to start beeping. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in auto again and flip. For me, I'm going to use the third auxiliary switch, which is also on my left hand. It's the larger switch. Now what will happen is if I crash and I can't find the drone, but the battery's still plugged in and I still have connection to my controller, I can flip this switch up to either of these positions and get a beep from it. The last thing I'm going to set up, and you'll notice there are a lot of other things you can set up, but we're going to set up these primary things. The next one we'll set up is flip over after crash. This is turtle mode, which we've mentioned before. Turtle mode is essentially if you're stuck upside down, you can flip this, it'll reverse the directions of the motors, and you can move the sticks around to get your drone to flip back over. I'll go ahead and add range and use our fourth auxiliary input, and let's go ahead and say that this only works if I'm in the furthest position. That way if I bump it, it doesn't accidentally go into turtle mode or flip over after crash. So now I see that in these two positions, it won't have any effect on the flight controller or the drone, and then in the third position, it will go into crash mode or flip mode. Now that we have what we want set up, we'll go ahead and save this. If we were to power on a drone and flip the arm switch, the motors would power up. Since it's plugged into USB, it's disabled. So you know it's working because it beeps and says, I can't do it right now, I'm plugged in. So that's good. The adjustments tab you can leave as is. You don't need to change anything in here. In the servos tab, this is something that's used usually by airplane pilots, so it won't be something that we'll need to use in our quadcopter builds. The next tab we're going to talk about is motors. Motors is another tab, another configuration tab that you'll need to have the battery plugged in for. And essentially what we can do here is you can see inputs from the drone. So we're getting accelerometer data. What I'm doing here is I'm moving the drone around with my hand, and I can see the accelerometer data here. And what we can do is we can test that the motor directions are correct. So right here, this little switch, I'm going to read it out loud because it's very important. It says, I understand the risks. The propellers are removed. Enable motor control and arming. Disable runaway takeoff prevention. Essentially what that means is if you have the propellers on and you switch this, bad things are going to happen. So take off your propellers before you test the motors. I've personally had my fingers cut by propellers from a small drone, and it was terrible and took weeks to heal. So So don't take any chances. It can happen to anyone. We'll go ahead and switch it though. And just to make sure all the motors, I'm going to hold down the drone anyways, because sometimes it'll vibrate. I don't want it to fall off the table. I'm going to go ahead and move the master up, and I can hear that the motors are all working, so that's good. Next thing I'm going to do is check the direction. And if you forget what the direction is here, you have a little picture. So this fourth motor should go in towards the camera. So I'm going to start with motor 1 here, and I'll go ahead and raise this slider up just ever so slightly. It doesn't need to be too much. And I'll go ahead and put my finger on the motor and see if it's spinning in the right direction. If it is, we're all good to go. And again, you're using this figure up here to check. We'll go ahead and go into the next motor, do the same thing. And it looks like it is spinning in the opposite direction. So we'll go ahead in a second and go into the ESC configurator to change that. And we'll check the next motor, and it looks like it is also spinning in the opposite direction. So we're going to remember motor 2 and motor 3 are in the opposite direction. And we'll check motor 4. And it looks like motor 4 is in the correct direction. So 1 and 4 are in the correct direction, 2 and 3 are reversed. So we'll have to go ahead and do that. Okay, now that we've tested our motors in Betaflight, we're going to go ahead and disconnect our drone, our flight controller from that, and go ahead and download the BL Heli software. So go to Google and search BL Heli Suite 32. And what you're going to be looking for is a GitHub link that says specifically BL Heli 32. If it just says BL Heli Configurator, then it's going to be for BL Heli S, which is a different type of ESC that we don't have. So now we're at this GitHub page, and for some reason, the Google Drive link doesn't have the Windows version. So we're going to go ahead and use the MediaFire link. When we click on the MediaFire link, we'll see a couple of options here, and we want to download the last one, the BL Heli 32_32713. So we'll let this download really quick, avoid pop-ups. And once that's downloaded, we'll go ahead and open the zip file and extract all files to a folder, and then run this software that we've just downloaded. I'll close out these Finder windows. I'll go ahead and open that software, and it will come up as the BL Heli Suite 32. At this point, I'll go ahead and make sure the drone is connected via USB and powered on with the battery as well. And make sure the correct COM port is selected. We are on COM 14, and you can see that it also says an ST Microelectronics virtual COM port. So that's what we're looking for. We'll connect to it. It'll take a couple seconds, and we see here that there's multiple ESCs, and then we'll read our setup so that it'll take the information from the ESC and let us know what it is. We'll know we've done it right when we get this little window here. And now we're looking at ESC1, so motor 1. And from our Betaflight test, we found that motor 1 and 4 had the correct direction, but motors 2 and 3 used the incorrect direction. Now, if you notice, if you click with your left click, it'll start selecting multiple ESCs at once, which we don't really want to change. We just want to do them at once, so we'll use a right click. What we're going to do is we're going to select motor 2 and change it from normal to reversed, and then we'll write that setup to make sure it saves. So we saved that for ESC2, and now we'll go do the same for ESC3, change it to reversed, and write that setup, send it to the ESC so that it saves, and now both of those are reversed and the other two are normal. So now if we go back into Betaflight, we'll go ahead and disconnect from BL Heli Suite, get the beeps knowing that you've disconnected, go back into Betaflight and connect, go into motors, I understand the risks, and check the directions. And they should be in the right direction now. I'll put my finger on the sides of it just to feel that they're going in the right direction. And it looks like they are. So we've got that taken care of, and that'll wrap up pretty much everything you need to do for motors. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, definitely let us know, and have fun flying.